All right, now, this big partial pink thing that you're seeing right here is just part of the lens. And the reason I know it's the lens is because I know that this structure is the iris, right? So, see, the iris is kind of like this finger little structure coming up this direction. Well, what's in back of the iris? The lens has to be in back of the iris. Right? So this is the lens, or at least part of it, and this is one side of the iris. Now let's do this. Because you just have to be able to put two and two together here. So the lens is just all kind of torn up. That's no big deal, right? So you can see here's the end of one iris. Here's the start of the other iris on the other side. So this is the other iris. This is still the lens. So now think about this. If that's one iris, and that's the other iris, and that's the lens, the space in between has to be the pupil, right? Because that's the thing that opens and closes. So one side, the iris on one side, iris on the other side, lens in the middle, the space in between is the pupil. So let's see if we can make this a little more obvious. So there's just a little, I'm just trying to get a little bit of the iris on there. So here's just the very tippy end of the iris. This, again, is the pupil. So this space spanning across here that light comes through and is focused by the lens is the iris. Is the pupil. Is the pupil, right? The opening. Now, but where did the light come in? It came in initially through the cornea. So the cornea looks like this. It's right there. So see this big sort of, it's like a, well, I can't really describe it, but it's this whole big structure right here. So light comes in through here, right? Remember, this is a fluid-filled chamber. It comes in through here, passes through the pupil, through the lens, and then ultimately focuses on your retina as an image. So when you look at these sheep eyeballs that I have out here, I'm sorry, get away here for a second, but let me pick up this eyeball. When you look at this sheep eye that I cleaned off, what you're seeing right there, that cloudy thing on the surface, is the cornea. Right? You can't see any. It's real cloudy and opaque looking, but it's because it's preserved. So that's the cornea. The white stuff around it is the sclera, just like the whites of your eye. Right? So that's pretty cool. And if you look at this one, I did a little better job on this one. So there you can see the cornea, you can see the sclera. But if you turn it around, you can see this, not this, but this big like stem, like you can pick it up by it, right? This big stem back there is the optic nerve that emerges from the back of the eye. Right? So where the optic nerve enters the eye, that doesn't make any sense, does it? But anyway, I was trying to describe where the blind spot would be. So if I could stick a pin straight through the optic nerve into the back chamber of the eye, it would, if I did it exactly perfectly, it would come out at the blind spot. Right? So this is the cornea. Now remember, the cornea is part of this colored layer of the eye, or white colored layer of the eye, called the sclera. Now, if you have bloodshot eyes because you're taking a sleep or you're out partying or something like that, right? The reason your eyes are bloodshot is because the blood vessels of the choroid layer are right under that basically sort of transparent sclera. So it's not like there's blood vessels in the sclera, they're just right under the sclera. And you don't want people to see your bloodshot eyes, so you get some Visine and you put drops in your eyes, right? It's just basically a vasodilator. It just kind of cuts down the blood supply and your eyes don't look red anymore. Right? So, but that's the way it happens. Right? I